Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. We're going to mark up some fresh charts today on BTC and ETH. We'll talk about the overall state of the markets, where I think things may be going, possible swing trades coming up because we're pretty choppy at the moment. We'll get into all that. I'm going to pop up a little image on the screen right now. Just look out for this scammer who names himself Pinned by Crypto Chase. It's basically he responds to all the comments on my videos, and then he deletes his account and he remakes it. Some, just complete loser, scammer. Make sure you don't send him any money. I'm not going to contact you about any services or anything, and if there ever was anything official like that, it would be on my Twitter. But there's not, okay? So simple as that. Some other just quick things to go over. A lot of the times I get questions about things that have been answered in specific videos. If you want to hear about how I got started and whatnot, that's Trading Psychology Part 1. You can find all these on my YouTube. If you're confused by any terminology or anything, there's a video called something like Exact Entries, portfolio percentages and terminology, something like that. If you're interested in how I manage my portfolio, there's a video strictly on portfolio management. All these videos are fairly recent. All the trading psychology video is quite long, but all the other ones are fairly short and pretty to the point. So if there's anything regarding those, or if you like my content, I highly recommend, if you're new here, I highly recommend to check out those videos. Those are the videos that I've gotten the best feedback about, and people really seem to connect with them and learn a lot from them. Okay. As usual, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. Thank you very much to them. I'll have my links at the bottom of the screen if you want to try trading on their site. Okay, let's get into everything. We will do ETH first. All right, so as I said, we can look at BTC, we could look at ETH. We could see that both of these have broken down, and now we're simply in chop. I've gone over all the, the places I talked about selling and all that stuff a million times, so we're not going to do that anymore. We're just going to get into, current price action. If you want to see my thoughts about, what we were doing up here, what we were doing up here, feel free to just check some recent videos and you will certainly know. Okay, let's mark out the weekly demand, okay? So we have weekly demand here. We could see consolidation, more consolidation in here. You get a bounce, you get the origin of this up move basically, right from this weekly demand level. We come down, we tag the weekly demand, and we bounce, further proving to us that this is an important level, an important support level, right? We saw that right here on this bounce. So what am I looking for? Well, swing-wise, I'd say I'm looking for something like this. I would like to see potentially a run of this low, and when you talk about a run of the low, there's multiple ways to trade it. This is something we go over a lot too, but you can simply have blind bids layered in this area. If you were going to do that, obviously, if you're layered in here, you need somewhat more of a wider stop, right? You'll typically get, it depends on the scenario usually, but typically you're in this case though, your better risk reward is most likely going to come from this. I'll show you another scenario. So blind bids, right? Scenario 1 is blind bids in the area of support. The other scenario, which is most likely what I'm going to do, is this. Now, I'm sorry, I'm slightly scatterbrained right now because there's a few different scenarios to play here, right? I may just bid straight up, try to be super greedy with the bid and bid like 1,500 to 1,400, okay? So that would be super greedy, and you could play that with a pretty tight stop. But outside of that, the more confident play for me here, right, is to see a run of this low, and then you're going to want a low to be put in, right? So say we pierce, we go all the way down to 1,450, right? Okay, we reclaim. Now, as you're retesting this area, you're thinking that, hey, the low is in right here, okay? This is the low. So in that scenario, you'll be able to get along off of this level, a fairly, tight stop loss below whatever this local low is, right? And where are you targeting? In my opinion, you're targeting all the liquidity above here, right? We would have to break down to a lower level here, and let's just see. Target 1 is Target 1 is around here, 3K-ish. Target 2 around 33, 34. So, you'd be looking at a 5.7 risk reward swing trade ultimately. If you got a scenario where you put in a low, you waited for the reclaim of the level, right? We would look for the reclaim of this level. You'd play off that level on the retest, and then, hopefully go to target, of course, wiping out all this built up liquidity. Whatever we do in here, we could be chopping for a while longer, right, before an actual breakdown. Boom, retest, it goes. Okay, so that's one thing I'm watching for, and that's ultimately the reason why I'm not in a big rush to trade right now, because what we're seeing here is just straight chop. Okay, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just chop, and this could 100% take 3 months to play out. I don't know, it could take a year to play out. I really don't know. It doesn't mean I'm not going to trade for a year, right? But what I do know is that, we played the opening moves of this range, and, that's typically my strategy. I like the opening moves of a range, and I don't like to get chopped up much after that. I've just learned that through experience. Okay, 1 second here. The other play, if this happens to not sweep the low or anything, or we just bounce in general, I am watching for shorts 100% off this area, anywhere between 3250 to 3500. This is definitely a major area of resistance, in my opinion. We can see up move and the origin of the down move right here. Okay, that's resistance. This will be the first time testing the resistance. First tests are typically where the level is most likely to hold. Okay, so it's very unlikely that we do this and go right through. What is more likely is that worst case scenario, pretend we were going to go through, right? Still, the first test of the level is most likely going to be a rejection. And then you may go up and retest it again, probably rejects again, test it again, boom, it finally breaks through, okay? But it's very unlikely that it just breaks through on the first test. So I'll definitely be shorting this level, okay? Buying this level, shorting this level. Simple as that right now for ETH. Okay, let's move on to BTC. So BTC, in my opinion, the price action is not nearly as clean. That's why I've been focusing on ETH. In my opinion, this is the level basically. You could see support here, support here, support here, breakdown. But 46 is not actually the level, because then you have basically you have this consolidation in here where this is most likely a resistance level in here, right? And this is just what technical analysis is. I think a lot of people try to have fancy names for different things and whatnot, but I really just support and resistance to me. And in my opinion, we tried to hold support here, tried to hold support here, or we held support here, held support here, held support here. This is sort of what led to the break in support, but then you had another resistance level form here, and we've yet to test that level. So once again, this is most likely fresh resistance right here. If we end up breaking above this area right here, I always do that, I should just use a normal line. If we end up breaking above this area right here and we push into here, I would be interested potentially in a bounce off here, but it would be very short term at best. What I'm more interested once again is selling this area. I think that's the move, is to short this area, and worst case scenario, you see strength on a bounce, right? And you have to close in here somewhere. Probably won't get that great of a trade, but you'll get something out of it, right? But I do feel once again that it's fairly unlikely that we're going to immediately just blast through these levels. I just don't see it, unless the consolidation is a lot longer, right? If you are consolidating for a ton of time and you just start, you're consolidating and you start rallying, sure, it might be just a tiny little dip and it keeps going. That's totally possible, okay? Just give me 1 second. All right, and now as far as downside goes, this is essentially the support level here. It's support, 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 origin of the rally, essentially. You can see it tagged here. You can see it almost tagged here. Again, I'm not looking to sell lows, right? if this happened to do something like this and come up, maybe that's a short opportunity, right? Something like that. But, I did, like I said, I did all the selling and stuff I wanted to up there. I don't need to sell at those levels. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather just be a buyer at my levels of interest, which my level of interest next would be around 22.5, 23,000, right around there, okay? So that would be the area that I'm watching for buys if we were to break down in a major way. I think a lot of people, retest of the all-time high, of the previous all-time high, right? Retest of the previous all-time high. And this is Bybit chart, so it doesn't show it, but it would essentially look, something like that if memory serves me correct. So they would say retest of the old all-time high, right? But maybe we front-run retest of the all-time high to this consolidation here, right around 22.5, 23,000. And that would be a place where I'd probably look for a long position, see if we can get a decent bounce. At least back towards, let's see, you hit this, probably back towards here, flip this area to resistance if so. Okay. So we got levels marked out for BTC. We know what we're looking to do on BTC. We know what we're looking to do on ETH. ETH is definitely a bit cleaner, in my opinion, to work with. I've been saying that for a while. Still, my opinion is still the same on that. Oh, whoops. I was trying to make this red. Okay. So let's see. What is there to talk about? Some people's favorite part of the video, the ranting part, if that's what we want to call it. So what is the state of the market? What is the state of CT? What's been going on? Let's get into it. So let's think. Well, there was the FOMC. Fed talked about potential raise of rates in the very far future. Let's see. Dollar reacted. All this stuff is somewhat short term, but dollar reacted definitely strongly. S&P didn't like it. ES, whatever you want to say. Could be potentially doing some double top situation here. We're not really going to chart this all out and talk about levels and whatnot, but just interesting to see that the market is starting to somewhat change its tune just a little bit regarding what the Fed is talking about. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But ultimately, I don't think that stuff really has. It's not that it doesn't have an effect on crypto, but I don't think it's going to have an effect on crypto for the time frame that I'm personally concerned with. I'm concerned with eventually getting a retest of this area and selling it. And I've talked about, like I said, go to the portfolio management video and all that if you want to know exactly how I've been managing things. But definitely sell this area. And if we reclaim this area, cool. It just means I'm going to be an aggressive longer again, right? No problem at all. But I don't think, anything going on with the Fed is necessarily going to stop anything with crypto in the short term when we're talking about potentially rallying to, 45K BTC or potentially rallying back to 3K ETH to wipe out, all this liquidity up here. Something of that nature, which, may not happen for 6 months or 3 months, who knows, but I doubt anything serious happens with the Fed, for quite some time. So, yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on that. What else was big this week? I don't know. I debated whether I should talk about it or not, but I saw that and I don't know her. I think her name is Marin. Apparently she did a advertisement for Solana high cap. I personally don't see the problem with it. I think a lot of people are, upset and witch hunting and all that just due to, how price has been and people are bored. It's obvious people are bored. Just take a look at CT. The amount of shit posting is absurd. I definitely think people are bored. I think disclosing your shill is fine, especially on a high cap. look, and we sort of have to dial it back, right? There's two very different types of people, and like I said, I don't know Marin. I don't follow her content. I don't even think I follow her, and I don't personally find astrology. I looked at her page. I don't really find astrology stuff valuable, but that doesn't mean other people don't. I'm not here to hate on anyone's methods or anything. However they want to view the market is fine. If they're producing content that people find valuable, then they should be allowed to do a disclosed advertisement. I don't see a problem with it. The fact that she got a ton of hate over it, I think, is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, but back to the main point. There's going to be two types of people, right? And I talk about this often. The people who are just complete bull-tarding. Oh, look, it's a good day to see ETH at 3,000, 10,000 tomorrow, and their only goal is to build followers so they can shill dog shit and make money off advertisement. So that's one category, right? But then there's also another category you have to look at for people who actually provide value to their followers. Should they not be allowed to do some type of an advertisement as long as it's disclosed? I believe they should. I mean, look, this is essentially an advertisement for Prime XBT right now, but we are hopefully I'm providing value to my followers and my watchers and whatnot. And there's also that idea, if you take any advertisement money or if you have a group or anything of that, then automatically you're a terrible trader, blah, 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 which is comical because I guarantee you couldn't find 3 or 4 people who called things better than I did basically this entire run. I sold levels perfectly. I bought dips perfectly. I sold the whole entire time up here. I was extremely, bearish and talking about taking profits in here. So, and yet I still, am happy to take some extra money for a sponsorship. Hell yeah, I am. Why am I going to say no to extra money? And, it is what it is. Look, I didn't buy 1,000 Bitcoin for, $2 a piece back in, 2010. Sorry, I didn't do that. I didn't throw a bunch of money into altcoins in 2014 and 2015 where you could have threw literally, $1,000 at any dog shit whatsoever and probably came out a millionaire. So, it is what it is. I think that people who provide value should be able to do that. But on the other hand, I also think that the people who are just purely marketeers should be seen for what it is. And frankly, the purely marketeering people get way too much attention. And their accounts grow way too fast just by spamming nonsense bull-tard shit that gets everybody in trouble because all their followers believe their nonsense and they were holding their ETH for 10K and now they lost half their money. Okay, when my account grew fairly slowly. I started back in 2017. A lot of people went to 100K, 150K followers just by talking complete bull-tard shit. And, I only went to whatever 45K or whatever, yet me and my followers sold the very top. So, figure that out, right? So yeah, there's two types of people. Stay away from the pure marketeers. But as far as people who provide value to their followers, if the followers believe that there's value there, and it's not a complete load of shit, fuck it. Disclose shill, I got no problem with it, especially on a high cap. All right, let me think. What else? Yeah, I feel like that's sort of about it. Could talk about alts for a second, I guess. Remember up here, everything was the future of finance, and now everyone's talking about them going down another 50%. Honestly, I don't know. I don't care because I've been at alts since up here. If you're not new to crypto, you know that alts move with ETH essentially. And when I thought ETH was topping out, I figured alts were topping out as well. And, I was out of, I don't even know, 85% of alts by up here, got rid of more here, and I was fully out by here. So when it comes to alts, when it comes to ETH, I was more out just up here. And also in here in the mid threes. Don't want to completely pretend I sold the exact top because I definitely didn't. it was all in here where the majority of my sells. So yeah, alts, I mean, I've really, you know, when it comes to like a person's setup, right, when you look at their screen, or when you look at your own screen, right, and I went from 30 tabs or something to now I have like 4 tabs open. I have ETH, I have BTC, excuse me, I have a stocks tab, and I have an alts tab open, but I don't even really look at it. There's not really much to look at the moment. So, yeah, I'm not paying attention to alts. I don't think there's much attention to be paid to them. You're going to see movement most likely from BTC or ETH. You're going to see volatility from BTC or ETH before you see any major volatility in alts for the most part. I think liquidity is drying up a bit on alts as far as I can see. I looked over, you know, some alts, and, you know, just to every now and then, you know, it's nice to pat yourself on the back. You look at, you know, sells you made and what the you know, the depth was for some of the lower cap coins. Like, oh, you can sell X amount for, you know, this percentage of market movement, and it's definitely like a much smaller amount nowadays that you could sell. You're not able to get away with big sells much nowadays, as you were, you know, when things were popping, right? When things were popping up here, you know, you could sell, you know, 20, 30,000 into a small cap, and the price would barely move. Now the liquidity is really drying up. Yeah, so I don't know, you know, the people who didn't sell, honestly, it's really tough to guide people. I think, you know, you just take it as a learning experience. I would 100% watch my Trading Psychology Part 1 and my portfolio management if you feel like you're really lost. Those may help you and put you a bit on a path towards feeling better and feeling more comfortable with your position in the market, which is very important to overall success. Okay, so hopefully all this was helpful. You know, I'm trying to keep these videos, you know, as concise as possible. You know, I talk about, you know, what's relative and, you know, the real plans that I'm looking at, because, you know, we could dig into the lower time frames here, but things could change at any time, and this could literally just do this. And you know, what's that going to do? Unless you're if you're a really experienced trader, you're most likely not here. You know, someone who knows how to trade this with extreme consistency is probably not watching my videos, because I doubt they need my help, because that's a difficult task to do. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.